One of my favorite episodes of 2016 was with Michael Dahlke, and he bought a little teeny cleaning business that was doing $60,000 a year, and he scaled it up close to the $5 million mark in only a few short years. Really humble, really nice, very knowledgeable, and I just listened to this episode as we went through the editing process, and it is really good when he shares his top 3 tips to crush 2017. Also want to remind you to sign up for the Bootcamp 2.0 unveiling demo walkthrough webinar. I'm going to show you how you can crush 2017 and sign up for free. Hang out with me. It's January 12th. Go to automategrowsell.com/best year. Let's get going.
Welcome to the Quick Talk Podcast with Joshua Latimer, where we discuss business, life, family, faith, struggle, fire, pain, and ultimately winning.
It's time to take massive action. Look, I can't work harder on your life or business than you do. It's ultimately all on you. You know, God created all the food the birds would ever need, but he doesn't put it in their nest. You've got to go get it. 10 out of 10 people die. So how about doing something today that actually matters while you still can? Hey everybody, welcome to the Quick Talk Podcast. We are in 2017. I can't believe it. It snuck up on us just like every single year sneaks up on us. And I'm joined on the line with my good buddy down in Nashville, Tennessee, Michael Dahlke, running the megalithic cleaning empire.
We feel very, very fortunate and very, very blessed for the year we had.
Yeah, I mean, you're growing like a rocket ship. So the theme of these little mini quick talks to start off 2017 is what are your top 3, suggestions, I guess, to help small businesses have their very, very best year ever? Because this is the time. This is the perfect time to get serious, to get organized, to get focused, to put the things in place, the accountability in place, whatever it is, so we can get set up for this year. Because if we don't do it, then it just kind of gets away from us. So you're obviously highly successful. What would you say tip number 1 is to the average small business out there hustling to crush 2017?
Yeah, I'm going to steal from one of my favorite leaders of all time, and my 3 will all kind of roll into one, Josh, for your listeners. My number 1 favorite leader is Abraham Lincoln. My second favorite in the business world is Alan Mulally, who led Ford out of the financial crisis. And after all the other automakers went bankrupt, he was the one that said, no, we're not going to take government money. We're going to lead this thing, and we're going to do it as a team and grow this moving forward. So, guy that's very close to you up in Michigan there, was very close. He's now retired in Seattle. But he said the 3 most important things that you need to have is a clear, compelling vision, a comprehensive strategy for accomplishing that vision, and then you need a plan to relentlessly execute on to accomplish those first 2 things. So the number 1 thing I think that the listeners need to have, if you want to have your best year ever, and for us, we've been very fortunate to have our best year ever, 5 consecutive years in a row. It's going to be our 6th year for sure. So looking at that, what is the vision for what you want to accomplish? What's the end in mind? What does the end of the year look like for you? Is it a new house? Is it new employees? Is it more time with your family? What is it that you want? What's your vision of the future that you want to have? And let's get that as clear as you can possibly get it. When I was in the financial world, they called it, what's your most amazing future? If you could say this is the most amazing thing I can believe that could possibly happen at the end of 2017, this is what it would look like. What does that look like for you personally, professionally, financially? And once you get that clear, compelling vision, then you can look at what are the strategies that you need to do to accomplish it. So my number 1 would be the clear, compelling vision for what you want to have happen in your business, in your personal life, and in your financial life in 2017.
Oh, that's so good. It's so good. And in my boot camp, the very first video people watch is what is your why? Because there's no point to just
plow more content and more knowledge and random information and strategies into your brain unless we have a destination established first. And people don't do that. And I know what you're speaking is truth. It is the answer. But people, for some reason, they don't get clear, or they get sort of clear, where it's not razor sharp. This is exactly what we'll have. This is the date it'll be accomplished by, and so on. I mean, have you experienced that with people you work with? Why do you think people are so murky with their vision? Is it because they don't spend enough time on it? Is it because they're a lone wolf? They don't have other business friends to kind of motivate them? What are your thoughts?
Well, I have experience with other people, but I can tell you probably the biggest experience is with myself in areas where I've tried to set a clear, compelling vision and haven't been able to do it. And usually it's one or two reasons. One, I don't have the knowledge. There's times where I wanted to set a vision for our business early on, but I didn't know, I just didn't know enough about it. So I felt like I couldn't set a clear vision, because what if it changes? What if we're going down one path and we need to go down another path? And I would say that looking back, I wish I would have just set the vision and pitched it and went full force for it right away, and then said, hey, we got to shift a little bit here. The vision could have been something that was changing. The other thing that for me personally, one reason why I don't get clear is because it's scary. If I told Josh Latimer, next year we're going to do $7 million in our business for Blue Skies, or if I said next year we're going to do $10 million, or we're going to make X amount of money, or I'm going to personally, in my personal life, I'm going to spend a day a week with my family, or as one of my friends wants to do, they just want to read the Wall Street Journal every day. If I said that out loud and got crystal clear about that specific thing, then I tell somebody about it, now I'm accountable, and now I can fail. And I think for a lot of people, it's easier to say, I want to have a good year, because it gives them less opportunity to fail, and it gives them less accountability, than to say, you know what, I want to hit this exact number this year, or I want to do this with my family this year.
Yeah, gosh, that's really good. I've never even heard it put that way, but you're right. People, they feel like their goals are concrete and they're not elastic. They don't feel like they can pivot, and so they don't do it at all, which really is crazy, because even if you do have to make a change or go down the different path, you're still going to be light years ahead of where you would be if you hadn't set any clear vision in the first place. Well, that's really good. And so number one was create a clear and compelling vision for your future. What could your very best future look like? And what's number two again?
Number two is a comprehensive strategy for accomplishing that. So if you say that your vision for this year, if I'm thinking about the guy on the ladder with the earbuds in who's, just getting started, and he says, my vision is I want to have 2 employees so I can just be in the office. So then you've got to think through, what's your strategy to get there? So, okay, what do I need if that's where I'm going to get to what's holding me back? Well, most people would say what's holding me back is I don't have enough jobs. I don't have enough cash flow to pay those people and then pay me to be in the office. So then what do we need? We need more cash flow. Well, how do I get more cash flow? Well, there's only 2 ways to increase your cash flow. You can increase your revenue or decrease your costs. Well, most of the guys on the ladder don't have a huge cost structure, so it's really about increasing revenue. So now we know that to get to that point, that clear, compelling vision of having those 2 employees, and to get there we need more cash flow, and to get more cash flow we need more revenue. What do we need to do to get more revenue? Well, we need to put out, as Josh Latimer says, we need to take massive action, and we need to put out so many door hangers or whatnot. So maybe it's in your market, you need to put out 5,000 door hangers to get enough jobs to hire that one person. So, okay, then what do I need to put out 5,000 door hangers? Well, I need to buy them. Okay, that's the easy part. But then I also need to carve out the time to do it. And most of the guys, if they were like me, when I was the guy on the ladder with the earbuds, I don't have a lot of time to do that. I'm already cleaning windows, answering the phone, being the accountant, all of that. So then you've got to look at your life and say, what can I carve out? What sacrifice do I have to make to do this? So the strategy might be, I'm going to sacrifice some time in the morning every day for an hour, put out 100 door hangers. I don't think that's the number. I can't remember when we were doing a lot of door hangers. I think we could put out about 50 an hour. So I don't think that's the right number. But in general, you have to take that vision and then work it back so that you've got a strategy for it. Mm-hmm. one of the most important things we're working on this year is we're working on developing our top people. So if I'm trying to get my COO ready to run the business completely by the end of the next year, the strategy is, what does he need to learn between now and the end of the year so that he's ready to run the business without me? He can answer all those decisions. He needs to know how to negotiate rents. He needs to know how to handle insurance requests for proposals. He needs to know our leadership structure. He needs to know our accountants. He needs to meet our banker. So we've got to list all of these things and have a strategy broken down where we can say, hey, here's what we're going to do to get you to that spot where you're ready to run this business without us. So take that vision and then break it down into your strategy so you know what you need to accomplish it and how you're going to get there.
Oh, it's so good. And people don't do this. A lot of small businesses don't. And I did not do it for many years in the beginning. But I'll tell you, I think the reason I didn't do it is because I felt overwhelmed by figuring it out. But here's the secret to this whole thing is that when you have it laid out in front of you, like if you can pull this off, if you can reverse engineer the strategy, you feel more empowered than you could even imagine. You feel more equipped. You feel more optimistic about your vision because you can see it. Like a lot of times, Michael, tell me if this is true for you. Once it's laid out, you start chewing on it a little bit. You go, you know what? This is going to work. I can do this. This is going to happen, right? But you can't get that optimism and that belief until you can see it laid out. And you just got to put in the time to do it, right?
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Okay, so what was number 3? What was the third final tip for people to have the best 2017 ever?
Yeah, the third one is a system or a plan to relentlessly execute on. So for us, and it's a little harder for me to relate back to the early days, but for us, we have a plan that says this is where we're going to get to this year. This is our revenue target. This is our cost targets. This is how many cleaners we need to hire. This is how many technicians we need to hire. This is what our live answer rate needs to be. When someone calls in, we answer. This is the sales conversion rate. We have a part of our plan that all relates back to whether it increases revenue, decreases expenses, or mitigates risk. So we have a comprehensive plan. So we know if we don't hit a certain number, it affects that plan for us. So if we don't put out 5,000 door hangers in the example, we only put 3,000, we know we're not going to get the revenue that we need to, and we know how that adjusts. So every single Tuesday, our leadership team sits down, goes over our comprehensive strategy and that plan to accomplish it, and then we can relentlessly execute on it. So what absolutely do we have to do this week to get on track? If we're off track, what do we have to do this week to get on track? One of the areas we were just off track on was accounts receivable. And we said, what do we have to do to fix it? We need to call all the people and start asking for credit cards. We need to update our process, all these different things. And we watched our accounts receivable go from 145,000 to now about 28,000.
Wow.
So big change. But you have to have a very, very clear focus on relentless execution. So if I'm the guy looking at the door hangers and I only put out 80, I got to put out 120 the next day. Got to do it. Otherwise, I know that plan is not going to achieve. And when you're doing that and you're reviewing where you're at on pace for your goals on a weekly basis, it makes that pivot that you talked about way easier. We're now seeing that this is not going to be accomplished if we continue down this path. We need to make an adjustment. Let's tweak that. Let's hire somebody. Let's do this different thing. And you can see it if you're looking at it on a weekly basis and you're relentlessly executing. You can see the areas that you may need to pivot to make sure your vision comes true in the end.
Oh, it's so good. Michael, you're dropping it, man. Dropping the value for people. I super appreciate it. And I'm glad we were able to connect today. Well, I think on your last point, what's really cool about that, and I do the same thing with people in the boot camp, is I encourage people to break their whole season into 7-day sprints. Because you don't have to worry about the whole plan. You only have to worry about crushing the current 7-day window that you're in. If you crush it every week, week after week, bite-sized chunks, break it into sprints, that's how you know if you're on pace or off pace. And frankly, if you don't do step 1 and 2, as you suggested, you don't even know if you're on pace. There's no vision. There's no clarity, right? One of my favorite Bible scriptures is, without a vision, my people perish. Well, hey, people out there, without a vision, your business is going to perish. And so that's step 1. Then you got to have, all the other stuff to go with it, the strategy. And then lastly, you have to be able to execute. I think you said relentlessly execute, which is awesome. Any final thoughts? Accountability, that's part of it too. Is there anything you want to wrap up with?
The only thing I would say is if anybody needs help, they should be thinking about, John, your boot camp, or, listening to these podcasts or finding a well-meaning advisor. I think that one of the biggest blessings and one of the biggest, most important things to laying all that out is having mentors and advisors who can help you. I've been so blessed to know you, Josh, and I've been blessed to know Michael Kaplan, who's been on your deal, and Derek Christian, who's been on your podcast, and all of these people. Going back to the Bible, iron sharpens iron as one man sharpens another. We really, if you get a group of people who are willing just to help you and think through these things with you and hold you accountable, who love you and who will support you, it is such a cool thing. So the last thing I would wrap up with is if you don't have anybody, I know Josh will do it for you. If you are anywhere near Tennessee or just need someone to call me. I'm happy to help. But in general, having a group of people who can mentor you and advise you on these things is priceless as well.
It is. I would have never achieved anything without people investing in me, holding me accountable, slapping me in the back of the head, literally and metaphorically. That is the key. That's the thing that pushes you. It's that last 10% that they make you adhere to what you confessed you wanted to do with your own mouth. It's huge. It's huge. It's everything. So I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. Always love talking to you. You're going to have to come up to our new castle house in Michigan and kill some turkeys and deer with me.
I will.
Summer, Michael.
I will.
Well, you're always welcome, and I know I am. I'll come to your theater. You have a theater in your house with a popcorn machine. Come on. That's amazing.
It's going to be fun. The kids are going to love it.
All right. We'll catch you later, Michael. Thank you so much.
All right. God bless you, Josh.
Hey, my friends, I want to invite you to hang out with me on January 12th. Now, many of you know I launched my Automate, Grow, Sell Small Business Bootcamp about a year ago. And over the last year, in 2016, we had over 115 small businesses in a variety of service industries join me and the rest of the bootcamp members to go through the bootcamp, right? This is a high impact, massively disruptive, in a good way, bomb for your business. It can change everything. And in all seriousness, it has doubled and even tripled some of our members' businesses the first year that they're in the bootcamp. Now, we also learned a lot. And so we've made some adjustments to the way that the course is laid out, to the content that's in it. And we have a new game plan going into 2017 to really help you make 2017 your very, very best year in business ever. We've had massive feedback. We've done a lot of research and data with our current members to figure out, what can we add to the bootcamp to make it better? What was missing? How can we add more and more value? There's a lot included. I don't have to go into all of it now. I just want you to know that on January 12th, you can join me for free, and I'm going to do a teaching on how to make 2017 your very, very best year in business ever. And that might look like anything. There's no wrong answer, but that's for you to decide. For me, the last 2 years I owned my business before I sold it, I only worked 5 hours a week in the business. That's a real true story. The business still did over $150,000 a month, and it was totally automated. That's what I teach you how to do in the boot camp, right? So whether you want to have a really big business or a smaller business that's boutique but highly profitable, that's what we can teach you. But the most powerful part of the boot camp is the membership, the community, all these other businesses, because we have a private mastermind group on Facebook that's hidden, it's secret, it's just for the boot campers, and there are very, very smart people in the boot camp. So there's a lot there, and on the webinar, I'm going to walk you through it, screenshot it, lay out what's in it, and the methodology behind the teaching and what it can do for you, right? Because look, 2017 is going to sneak up on you and fly by just like this year did. There's no reason in the world to not investigate. Hang out with me on January 12th and just take a peek. Just take a look and see what we have to offer you. It could change everything for you. So I hope you'll register. It's totally free, and I will see you on January 12th.